Sai Ram, Vanakkam, Namaskaram, Vandanam, Assalamu Alaikum, and Sat Sri Akal. Very nice to see you all again. Today we are looking at the topic called sacrifice. And even though we have lots of messages out there, lots of definitions, lots of meanings, I'm just going to use a little story to tell you the scope, extent, and depth of what the word sacrifice means. So let me start by telling you this story. So there was a spiritual aspirant who wanted to become, somewhat illumined, and he went in search of this rishi whom he heard, was capable of giving him that sort of diksha. So he found him and he said, I want to get this mantra for Mukti mantra from you. Will you make me your disciple and teach me that? So the rishi looked at him and he said, yes, I can teach you that, but you have to earn that mantra and you have to work for me for 12 years without questioning whatever is it that I ask you to do. Are you willing to do that? And the man said, yes, I'm looking at the end and not the journey. So I'm prepared to do the journey. So the man worked for 12 years. He toiled for the guru, for the rishi, and he learned a lot of things. But he was waiting for the end of the 12 years so that he could receive the mantra for what he has been waiting for. So the end came near and the rishi called him and he said, okay, your 12 years is going to end. I want you to go to the edge of the forest, bring me a palmyra leaf, and I will inscribe the mantra on the palmyra leaf and give it to you so you can read it and your journey into, the next level can begin. So the man went to get the palmyra leaf. But sadly, when he came back with the palmyra leaf, the rishi had already left his mortal coils. It passed on. But on inquiry, people told him that the rishi had inscribed something on the sand where he was sitting. And there was another lady amongst the crowd who was there. And she actually copied this on a little leaf. And then she rolled that leaf and then put it in her earlobes and was wearing it as a earring. So this disciple, this shishya asked around and saying, where is this lady from? Where can I find her? And he got some information. He went looking for her. He found her, after a couple of weeks of traveling and looking for her. He found her and then he said to her, look, this is what has happened. I am the person who's supposed to receive the mantra, but before I could bring the palmyra leaf, my master left me, but I know that you have copied it. So will you please share that with me so that, I can continue with my journey? This lady then said, well, if you want to do that, I'm happy to give it to you, but you must work for me for another 12 years and serve me and do whatever I ask you to do. Then, I'm happy to give this to you. Are you willing to do that? And the man said, okay. The man looked after her donkeys and served the woman for many years. And, he lived on the food that was given to him by her. And this continued, right? And it was becoming almost the time when he's supposed to get it from her. But then he heard that the king was giving a lot of food in a nearby place, and it's good food. It's not the kind of food that he gets from the lady. So he said, okay, let me go and eat this food on this particular day when the king is serving, right? So when he went there, he just realized that, because there were not many people coming to eat, the king said, okay, whatever food you have served, finish, let's close shop and let's go. So he spoke to someone there and they said to him, the king is only giving this food because he was told that when a very, very genuine person comes and eats, the bell in the palace of the king will sound off. And the king is actually without any heir to the throne at the moment. So he is looking for someone to pass the kingdom over. And when he spoke to a great rishi, the great rishi said, do this anadhan, do this, feed people. And when you hear this bell go off, that is the person you are looking for. So this man could not find any food, so he couldn't eat. But he was really hungry because he had come, traveled a bit. So he said, where are all the people with the vessels of food and all that? So they've cleared all the food. They've gone to the river to wash the vessels. So he went to the river and he saw people washing. So he said, I'll help to wash, because he thought hopefully there's some food remaining at the bottom of the vessels he will eat. So he found a few, rice particles there, and he collected them. And when he ate, the bells went off in the king's palace. So the king sent his soldiers and said, who is this person? So on inquiry, they found out this was the man, and they took him before the king. And the king said, "This is it. You are going to be the next king. This is the vision, and this is your mission. You got to become the next king." And the man said, "No." And the man said his story. I'm looking, to do this, and I have served 12 years with my guru. Now I'm serving 12 years to this lady to get that. But the king said, "Oh, I'll send my soldiers to get her." He said, "No, no, no. The mantra has to be given freely and voluntarily, not by force or by compulsion." And the king said, "Okay, I have an idea. This lady does a lot of dances. She's a performer. So I'm going to call her to ask her to perform in the palace." So the king called her, and as she was performing, the king said, "Look, I'm very happy with your performance. I'm going to give you 2 diamond earrings, but the trick here is you must wear the diamond earrings whilst you're dancing, right?" So the king then threw the diamond earrings to her, and she took off what she was wearing, and threw it to the ground, and then she wore the diamond earrings. So when she threw that mantra down, the man picked up that palmyra leaf, and he understood what was written. He memorized it, and then he was on his journey, and of course he became enlightened, and he is Rishyamukha Rishi, right? You must know his name, right? Rishyamukha Rishi. So the moral of the story is, to get that mantra, this man went through 12 years of toil and labor, and then again toil and labor, before he could finally, get what he is after and continue his journey to become what he has become. Rishyamukha is very famous. So, what you need to think about is, as you reflect on this story, how far would you go? How much would you sacrifice to achieve your goals? That is what you should be thinking about. Until I see you next Thursday, stay blessed.